Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. How did you start your morning today? Because whether you realize it or not, your morning is not just a routine, it is the blueprint for your destiny. Most people want success in their lives. They want wealth, they want joy, they want freedom. But they don't understand that success is not created in the big events of life. It is created in the small, invisible choices you make before the world even sees you. Your morning decides everything. The first hour of your day is the foundation upon which the rest of your life is built. Think about that. Before you answer emails, before you check notifications, before the world starts demanding pieces of your attention, there is a sacred window of time where you either claim ownership of your destiny or you hand it away without even realizing it. The truth is, your first hour is not just about what you do, it's about who you are becoming. If you give that hour to laziness, to distraction, to scrolling through other people's lives, then don't be surprised when your own life feels out of control. But if you dedicate that same hour to growth, to clarity, to strengthening your mind and spirit, you're planting seeds that will grow into the harvest of your future. Your first hour equals your future because the patterns you start your day with have a way of multiplying themselves across every decision you make. Let me give you a hook that should stop you in your tracks. How you spend your first hour determines whether you run your day or your day runs you. And that is not just a nice quote. That is reality. When you begin with intention, you carry power. When you begin with reaction, you carry weakness. Winners understand this. That's why some of the most successful people you've ever heard of guard their mornings like a treasure chest. They don't let just anything in because they know that the first input they allow will set the thermostat for their whole day. If the first thing you put into your mind is chaos, negativity, or noise, the thermostat is locked low. You can't expect high performance with low settings. Consider this. The human brain operates at its peak state of creativity and focus within the first couple of hours after waking up. That's when your mind is sharp, uncluttered, and ready to process. And yet most people waste that golden state by drowning it in endless scrolling, news headlines, and trivial distractions. They trade gold for dust. But those who are serious about success recognize the power of this window and they maximize it. They feed their spirit. They feed their mind. They align their actions with their goals before the world has even had a chance to interrupt them. That is why they always seem a step ahead, because they literally start ahead. Now, here's another hook for you. Your morning is not about your clock. It's about your character. Some people think, well, I'm not a morning person. No, you're not a disciplined person. There's a difference. Discipline is what transforms ordinary mornings into extraordinary futures. The first hour is less about what time you wake up and more about what you choose to do once you are awake. If your choice is to fill that hour with preparation, you become unstoppable. If your choice is to waste it, you will keep wondering why life feels like it's slipping through your fingers. This is why I say your first hour equals your future. It is the down payment on the day you want to create. You can either pay that hour into distraction and regret or invest it into clarity and progress. And don't underestimate the compounding effect of this practice. One intentional morning may not transform your life overnight, but 1,000 intentional mornings, that will completely rewrite your story. Because the truth is simple. The future is not built in the future. The future is built today, and it starts the moment you open your eyes. So when tomorrow morning comes, don't stumble into it carelessly. Step into it powerfully. Treat that first hour as the master key that unlocks the rest of your potential. Ask yourself, Am I building a future with this hour, or am I breaking it? Because every sunrise gives you the opportunity to choose again. And if you choose to master your first hour, you will discover something incredible. You won't just change your mornings. You will change your entire life. Most people wake up and wait for energy to find them. They roll out of bed, drag their feet, and hope that somehow the motivation will appear later in the day. But here's the problem: energy doesn't come to those who wait. Energy comes to those who create. The difference between average performers and high achievers is not that achievers feel energized every morning, but that they've trained themselves to generate energy before they even start their day. This is why successful people begin their mornings with habits that set their bodies and minds on fire. They understand that you can't chase greatness with an empty tank, so they create their own fuel. Let me give you a hook that will shift the way you see mornings. If you can control your energy, you can control your results. Think about it. Your energy shapes your attitude, your focus, your decisions, your productivity. A drained version of you cannot perform at the same level as a charged version of you. Yet so many people expect to hit their goals with half-empty batteries. That's like trying to win a race with no gas in the car. You don't wait until you're halfway through the race to stop for fuel. You start with a full tank. In the same way, your morning must begin with energy, creating activities that fill you up before the world starts draining you. Here's the truth. You can't leave your energy to chance. If you open your eyes and the first thing you do is grab your phone, you're already putting your energy in the hands of someone else. Notifications, messages, negativity, they hijack your state before you've even decided how you want to feel. But when you take that same moment and put energy first, prayer, meditation, gratitude exercise, affirmations, you take control of your state before the day has a chance to touch you. You're no longer reacting to the world. You're creating the world inside you. That is the kind of power that winners carry with them. Another hook for you: energy is not physical first, it's spiritual and mental first. You can drink coffee all day long and still feel empty if your mind is filled with stress and your spirit is burdened with fear. True energy comes from alignment, when your thoughts, emotions, and actions are working together instead of fighting each other. This is why a few minutes of gratitude can give you more energy than hours of sleep. This is why speaking affirmations can light a fire in your soul that caffeine could never touch. Energy is created when you choose to align with possibility instead of limitation. Think about how unstoppable you become when you start your day energized. You think clearer, you move faster, you make bolder decisions. Problems don't intimidate you, they inspire you. Opportunities don't scare you, they excite you. This is not about hype, this is about chemistry. When you create energy in the morning, you literally change the way your brain and body function throughout the day. The hormones released when you move, breathe deeply, and practice gratitude prime you for confidence, creativity, and resilience. You're not just preparing for the day, you're programming yourself for success. And let me remind you of this: people are not attracted to your goals, they are attracted to your energy. Whether it's in business, relationships, or leadership, your energy is what people respond to first. If you carry fatigue, doubt, and stress into your morning, that's what multiplies. But if you generate joy, faith, and determination in the morning, that's what radiates to everyone around you. You become magnetic. You become influential. You become a force that others can't ignore. So stop waiting for energy to magically appear. Stop hoping motivation will knock on your door halfway through the afternoon. Decide that when the morning begins, You will create energy before you do anything else. Because when you learn to create energy, you gain the power to control your destiny. And the moment you stop living on low energy is the moment you stop living a low-level life. When most people wake up, they wait for the feeling of energy to arrive. They wait for motivation. They wait for drive. They wait for inspiration. And that's the exact reason why they stay stuck in average. Energy doesn't show up by accident. It shows up by creation. If you don't design your morning to generate energy, then your entire day will be drained before it even begins. The key is simple: energy before activity. Before you start chasing tasks, chasing deadlines, or chasing people, you must first fuel yourself. Because when you move into the day without energy, every obstacle feels heavier, every decision feels harder, and every opportunity feels further away. But when you create energy first, you don't just do more, you become more. Here's a hook you need to remember: the person with the most energy always leads the room. It doesn't matter if it's a board meeting, a family gathering, or a negotiation. The one who carries the highest energy controls the environment. That's why winners prioritize generating their state in the morning. They don't leave it to chance. They don't hope to feel good after a few cups of coffee. They intentionally align their body, their mind, and their spirit so that when they walk out the door, they're already unstoppable. Think about it like this: if you begin your day scrolling through negativity, your energy is stolen before you've even created it. You are feeding your brain the wrong fuel. The news, the complaints, the noise. It lowers your vibration and makes you reactive. But if you start your morning by moving your body, practicing gratitude, praying, or meditating, you are creating a current of energy that flows through your entire day. That's why the most successful people you know seem to carry an unshakable presence. They didn't wake up lucky. They woke up intentional. And here's another hook that should challenge you: energy is not something you consume. It's something you command. Coffee can wake up your body, but it cannot wake up your purpose. A long night of sleep can refresh your muscles, but it cannot refresh your vision. True energy comes when you set your inner thermostat in the morning. It's when you decide, I will start this day in power, not in weakness. I will set the tone instead of letting the tone set me. That decision creates momentum. That momentum fuels confidence. And that confidence opens doors that fatigue could never walk through. Now imagine the compound effect of this. One morning of generated energy can change your day, but weeks and months of intentional energy creation can change your entire life. The reason some people climb faster in business relationships or leadership is not because they're smarter or luckier. It's because they're energized. They think sharper. They execute quicker. They show up with a presence that demands attention. Meanwhile, those who wait for energy never get ahead because life is always pulling them down before they've even lifted themselves up. Here's a truth worth holding on to: energy is attractive. People are drawn to those who radiate vitality, confidence, and enthusiasm. When you carry energy into a room, you don't have to beg for influence. It naturally gravitates toward you. Clients want to work with you. Teams want to follow you. Opportunities want to find you. Why? Because people don't buy products or services first. They buy energy. They don't follow leaders because of titles. They follow them because of presence. And presence is nothing more than energy expressed consistently. So when you wake up tomorrow, don't wait for energy to appear. Create it. Move your body, lift your spirit, sharpen your mind. Refuse to let your phone or your circumstances determine your state. Energy before activity, always. Because the moment you stop living at low energy, is the moment you stop living at low potential. And when you learn to generate energy on demand, you will discover that nothing in life has the power to drain you anymore. You'll become the source, not the seeker. Every day of your life is a battle between who you are and who you are becoming. And the outcome of that battle is often decided before the sun has fully risen. The morning is the battlefield where victories are won or losses are accepted long before the day unfolds. If you win in the morning, you set a standard of excellence that carries into every area of your life. If you lose in the morning by choosing comfort, distraction, or delay, you've already handed the enemy of your destiny the upper hand. Winning the morning is not just about starting the day right. It's about declaring war on mediocrity and taking command of your own story. Here's a hook that should shake you. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. It doesn't matter how many dreams you write down if your mornings are sloppy, careless, or wasted. The morning is proof of whether you are serious about your vision or just daydreaming about it. You can't claim you want to build a great future if you can't even build a great start to your day. Winners know this, and that's why they treat the morning like sacred ground. They protect it, they prioritize it, and they conquer it before anything else. Think about the difference between two people who both have the same dream. One wakes up and hits snooze 3 times, rolls out of bed late, rushes through the morning, and spends the first 30 minutes in reaction mode, emails, notifications, social media. The other wakes up with intention, moves their body, sharpens their mind, invests time in prayer or gratitude, and sets their goals for the day. Both will face challenges, but one is already ahead before the challenges even arrive. Why? Because winning the morning creates momentum. And momentum makes battles easier to fight. And momentum is the invisible advantage of champions. When you win the morning, you've already created a string of victories before the rest of the world has even started. Small wins, like waking up on time, exercising, or journaling, may not look impressive to others, but they build an internal confidence that carries into bigger decisions. When you keep a promise to yourself in the morning, you prove to yourself that you are trustworthy, disciplined, and capable. And that self-trust translates into boldness throughout the day. Here's another hook you need to write on your heart. Comfort in the morning creates chaos in the evening. Every time you choose the ease of a few more minutes in bed, every time you choose to let your phone dictate your mood, you are setting yourself up for disorder later in the day. But every time you choose discipline in the morning, you buy yourself freedom later on. Because freedom is not found in doing what feels good now, it's found in doing what creates good later. The morning is where that transaction happens. Winning the morning also rewires your identity. Each day you start strong, you're not just creating habits, you're creating a new version of yourself. A person who is consistent, a person who is focused, a person who commands their time instead of being commanded by it. This is why some people never break through to greatness. They keep trying to change their life in the afternoon when the truth is their life was already decided by how they began their morning. If you can shift your identity to someone who wins early, everything else becomes a reflection of that new identity. Now imagine stacking this habit day after day. One morning win may give you a boost, but consistent morning wins turn into a lifestyle. And lifestyles are what shape legacies. Over time, people who win the morning become the ones who win in business, in health, in relationships, and in leadership. Because success is rarely about talent or luck. It's about the daily discipline of doing the small things well over and over until they compound into extraordinary results. So ask yourself honestly, are you winning your mornings, or are your mornings winning you? Because at the end of the day, it's not the alarm clock you're fighting, it's your future. And the battle is decided at the very start. Win the morning and you win the day. Win enough days and you win the life you were created to live. Clarity is the fuel of confidence, and the morning is the best time to generate it. When you wake up and your mind is still free from the noise of the world, you hold in your hands the opportunity to design the direction of your day. The problem is that most people start their mornings in confusion. They wake up with no plan, no vision, no clear target, and then wonder why they feel overwhelmed and uncertain later. Confusion in the morning multiplies into chaos throughout the day. But clarity in the morning creates a sense of focus that turns into confidence. And that confidence becomes the engine that drives results. Here's a hook you need to remember: a wandering mind produces a wandering life. If you don't decide where you are going, life will decide for you, and it rarely takes you anywhere worth being. The reason clarity is so powerful is because it silences the voice of doubt. When you know what you are aiming for, the noise around you doesn't hold the same power. Distractions can only control people who lack direction. But when you start your day with clarity, by writing your goals, by speaking affirmations, by visualizing the outcome, you've already created an internal map that keeps you on course no matter what storms come. Think about how differently your day feels when you wake up and say, this is what I will accomplish. This is how I will show up. This is who I will be. That clarity sharpens your decisions. Instead of wasting time on meaningless activity, you filter everything through your vision. You move with precision instead of hesitation. And every time you follow through, your confidence grows. Why? Because confidence is nothing more than the result of repeatedly proving to yourself that you can be trusted with your own word. Here's another hook that should challenge you. Confidence is not a gift. It is a byproduct of clarity. People often wait to feel confident before they act, but the truth is that confidence doesn't show up until you know what you are acting toward. The morning is your chance to create that target. By setting clear intentions, you give yourself something specific to aim at, and the human spirit thrives when it has a mission. Without a mission, you're just wandering, and wandering erodes confidence. But with clarity, every action, no matter how small, feels purposeful. Clarity also eliminates unnecessary battles. When you know who you are and what you're after, you don't waste energy fighting distractions, opinions, or temptations that don't align with your path. The reason so many people are exhausted by noon is not because they work too hard, but because they fought battles they never needed to fight. They said yes to things they should have ignored. They entertained voices that had no power to move them forward. But with clarity, your no is as strong as your yes, and that kind of focus creates confidence that cannot be shaken. Consider how clarity impacts leadership. People don't follow leaders because leaders have all the answers. They follow leaders because leaders have certainty in their direction. When you walk into a room with clarity, your confidence is magnetic. It tells people, this person knows where they're going, and I can trust them to lead. Whether it's in business, relationships, or personal growth, clarity is what gives you that edge. It is the anchor that allows confidence to stand tall even in the middle of uncertainty. Now picture this compounding over time. If every morning you take just 10 minutes to write your goals, visualize success, and align your actions, imagine the confidence that will grow in you after 30 days. Imagine it after a year. Confidence stops being something you chase. It becomes something you carry. And that's the difference between those who constantly doubt themselves and those who move forward boldly. The difference is not talent or luck. It's clarity created consistently. So when you wake up tomorrow, don't rush into activity without direction. Pause, center yourself, write it down, say it out loud, see it clearly. Because clarity is not just the key to confidence. It is the key to control. And the more clarity you create in the morning, the more confidence you will carry into the day, and the more unstoppable your future becomes. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in life, and the morning is where it begins. Success is never built on one big action. It is built on a series of small victories that stack on top of each other until they create unstoppable motion. Every time you choose to take control of your morning, you're not just completing tasks, you're building momentum. And momentum is what turns discipline into destiny. Most people don't fail because they don't have talent or opportunity. They fail because they never create enough momentum to push through resistance. The morning is the secret weapon because it is the part of the day where the smallest wins generate the biggest compounding effect. Here's a hook worth writing down. One small win in the morning can cancel out 10 excuses in the afternoon. When you make your bed, you've already completed a task. When you exercise, you've already invested in your health. When you write your goals, you've already aligned your focus. These may look simple, even ordinary, but they create a chain reaction in your psychology. You start to feel capable. You start to feel in control. And that feeling of control multiplies. Momentum works like gravity. Once it's in motion, it pulls everything else with it. Think about how powerful it feels when you begin your day with progress. That progress fuels your emotions, your confidence, and your productivity. Suddenly, instead of dragging yourself into the day, you're running into it with force. Obstacles don't feel as heavy, decisions don't feel as overwhelming, and opportunities don't feel as intimidating. Why? Because momentum has given you leverage. It's the difference between pushing a car from a dead stop and steering it while it's already moving. One takes all your strength, the other feels effortless. Winning your morning puts your life in motion, and once it's moving, it's far easier to keep it going. Here's another hook to lock into your mindset. The morning is not about perfection. It's about propulsion. Too many people try to plan the perfect day and end up paralyzed. Winners focus on gaining speed. They understand that a body in motion tends to stay in motion, so they prioritize actions that create flow. This is why small, consistent disciplines matter more than dramatic but inconsistent efforts. Reading a few pages, journaling a few thoughts, or doing a quick workout may not seem life-changing on their own, but compounded over time, they build momentum that separates achievers from dreamers. Momentum also builds resilience. When you've stacked victories early in the day, setbacks later don't derail you as easily. If you've already accomplished 3 or 4 meaningful things by 9 a.m., a problem at noon doesn't feel like the end of the world. It's just a bump in the road. You're already ahead. Without momentum, every challenge feels like a wall. With momentum, challenges feel like speed bumps. That difference in perspective is the difference between quitting and persisting. And momentum is contagious. When you carry it, other people feel it. Your energy inspires your team, your family, and your environment. People are drawn to those who move with speed and confidence because momentum communicates certainty. It says, this person is going somewhere. In business, in leadership, and in relationships, momentum is influence. You don't have to convince people with words when your actions are already proving that you're in motion. Now imagine what your life looks like if you win your mornings consistently, day after day, stacking small wins, building confidence, multiplying progress. That compounding effect doesn't just change your days. It transforms your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries, and you start seeing yourself as someone who executes. You stop waiting for the big break, because momentum itself becomes your big break. Opportunities show up not because they magically appeared, but because momentum made you visible, credible, and prepared. So tomorrow morning when that alarm clock rings, remember that it's not just the start of another day. It's the ignition switch for momentum. Every small win is fuel. Every intentional action is acceleration. And once momentum is built, it's not just your morning that changes, it's your entire life that begins to move forward with unstoppable force. Discipline at dawn is the birthplace of destiny. The world will tell you that greatness shows up in the spotlight, in the big opportunities, in the applause of the crowd. But the truth is, greatness is forged in the quiet hours when nobody is watching. When that alarm rings and the choice comes between comfort and calling, destiny is being written. Most people lose the battle for their future before the day even begins because they allow comfort to win over discipline. But those who choose discipline at dawn are the ones who unlock a future that comfort could never provide. Here's a hook you must remember. The way you treat your mornings is the way you treat your future. If you hit snooze, you delay your destiny. If you rise with purpose, you accelerate it. That small decision doesn't just affect one day. It sets the tone for the person you are becoming. Every morning you are either rehearsing weakness or reinforcing strength. Discipline is not about punishing yourself. It is about preparing yourself. It's about building the kind of character that can carry the weight of the success you say you want. Think about the greatest athletes, entrepreneurs, or leaders you admire. Their greatness didn't suddenly appear when the world saw them. It was carved out in early mornings, long before the spotlight arrived. Champions train when no one is watching. Entrepreneurs plan when others are sleeping. Leaders prepare in silence so they can perform in public. Discipline at dawn is not glamorous, but it is where the foundation of destiny is laid. Without it, talent is wasted and potential dies unused. Another hook to lock into your spirit. Your destiny is not waiting for motivation, it's waiting for discipline. Motivation is a feeling, discipline is a decision. Feelings come and go, but decisions create futures. That's why successful people don't negotiate with their mornings. They don't ask, do I feel like it? They tell themselves, this is who I am. Every disciplined act is a vote for the identity they are committed to living. And the more votes you cast for discipline, the stronger your destiny becomes. Discipline at dawn also creates alignment. When you choose structure in the morning, your body, mind, and spirit move in harmony throughout the day. Without that alignment, you are scattered, reactive, and drained. With it, you are focused, decisive, and powerful. This is why some people seem to move through challenges with ease. They've already trained themselves at dawn to face discomfort and master it. By practicing discipline early, they are rehearsing resilience for the battles that come later. Consider this: every morning is an opportunity to prove to yourself that you can be trusted. Each time you rise with discipline, you reinforce self-respect. And self-respect is the birthplace of confidence. If you can't trust yourself to get up when you said you would, how can you trust yourself to chase bigger dreams? Discipline builds the bridge between your promises and your performance. Without it, you will always doubt your own ability. With it, you walk into the day with the certainty that you can conquer whatever comes your way. Now picture the compounding effect of this. One disciplined morning might feel small, but string 100 of them together and you'll find yourself transformed. Your habits have shaped a new identity. You're no longer the person who gives in to excuses. You're the person who does what needs to be done regardless of how it feels. That's the kind of person who builds legacies, not just lives. Discipline at dawn doesn't just create results. It creates the kind of person who is capable of sustaining those results for a lifetime. So when the sun is still low and the bed still feels warm, remember this, your future is watching. Every decision you make at dawn is casting a vote for the destiny you will live tomorrow. Comfort may feel good in the moment, but discipline feels good forever. And when you choose discipline at dawn, you are not just waking up for another day. You are waking up for the future you were created to build.